Afternoon everyone. Yep, I'm here again, this time to do some goulash, the so-called traditional Hungarian food. Something that we don't tend to eat tons, probably because I didn't really enjoy it when I was little. But as I've grown older, as my flavours have improved and my taste buds, I'm having more and more of it. So I thought I'd show you how we do my version of it. So first of all, here's all the ingredients. You need some decent beef stock, a couple of onions, a piece of beef. I tend to use skirt, which really gives out a great flavour, but up to you. Some garlic, 4 or 5 cloves. We've actually got some really strong smelly stuff at the moment, so only 3's needed. Some lardons, not allowed to use fat anymore, and oil doesn't seem right, so lardons are a great compromise. Some peppers, not as good as the Hungarian ones, but yeah, a couple of red and a yellow. The green are a little bit too bitty for this one. Some carrots, some tomatoes, some potatoes, some paprika. This is some nice Hungarian paprika that my cousin gave me when I was over there recently. You need quite a lot of it, so you're going to need at least a jar. I want to put a little bit more in than that. Some caraway seeds and some bay leaves. Now then, as with most cooking, really it's all about the preparation. So I tend to chunk it off into 3 or 4 different bowls, which is how I'm going to cook it. So in one lot's going to be my potatoes, my carrots and my tomatoes. I don't know, half a dozen, but really it's what you want to put in. But I've got about half a dozen potatoes, 3 or 4 big carrots and half a dozen tomatoes. Then you got your peppers in the next one because they all go together. Chop them all. Most it's just chopped coarsely because remember this is a peasant dish. They don't tend for refined cooking. Here's my onions, 2 or 3, 2 large, 3 medium onions. You need plenty of those. There's me skirt, me garlic. Skirt is about 1 kilo there. That'll probably feed 4 or 5 people with some seconds as well. Really tasty stuff. Again, don't chop it into small little cubes. They may do in some restaurants, but I like it a little bit more chunky. And last but not least, your lardons and your other bits and pieces there that I'm going to use. So to start with, as you would expect, get the lardons going to a nice and hot. To which you're going to add the onions. Now the onions need to be going for, I guess, sort of 4 or 5 minutes when I'm really soft. And that lovely word again, really translucent, so you can see through them. Because what we're going to do is we're going to throw in the paprika, and that will give them a lovely, it'll absorb all that lovely colour and flavour for later on in the dish when it's cooked as a stew. So it's been a few minutes now. The onions have gone all translucent and ready for adding on the paprika. Now, again, don't fanny around with a little sprinkle or a little bit in. Whack it all in. The more the merrier. This is a 100-gram packet. Now the normal ones we get from Tesco, these are about 50 grams. So 2 of these, yeah, put it all in. I don't know what the recipes say, but to me, that's what gives it the big flavour. Take it off the heat, turn it off. Don't want it to steer, can be horrible. You just want it to be carried in and mixed in with those onions all nicely. Okay, take a few seconds, let it wind round. The smell at this stage is immense, absolutely immense. Okay, now, once you've mixed it all in, you need to get your beef. That's why I say preparation's what it's all about. You get your beef, just whack it all in, and your garlic. Garlic again, I don't small chunk, just chunks. It's going to be cooked in the stew for God's sake. And really we want to mix this all around with the onions and the paprika. Then we're going to turn the heat back on again. We're going to leave this for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes until the meat is looking slightly brown and rapid that it's being slightly cooked. Then this is going to be cooked for hours, so don't be fanatical about it and check it and taste it. Use your eyes, most important, smell it because it does smell brilliant. And just so you can see what it looks like, it should be something like that, with the paprika really marinating the beef as it's being slowly cooked and the onions spread around. If it starts sticking to the bottom, and it shouldn't, but if it does, just add a splash of water. That will just lift up any of those flavours from the onions and the paprika onto the beef and help it bind nicely. Okay then, this is looking really good now. So the next thing to add in is your peppers, and literally put them in, cook them for another 5 minutes or so before we add the rest of the stuff. So here we go, let's just tip them in, give them a good old mix. These will start obviously releasing some liquid and juice into it a bit more if you haven't used any water already. It just gives them a little head start before you put the rest of the stuff in. Why you put it in now, I don't know. Could you put it with all the other bits? Probably. Again, it's just the way I was shown, so that's the way it's going to be done. Now at this stage, it looks and smells fabulous. You could probably eat it as a stew as is. It's obviously goulash because of the amount of paprika in it. But really you want to take it further. I suppose if you added red wine to it, it'd become a bit more like beef bourguignon. But I'm not going to do it. I think some recipes they do put wine in, but you don't need it. So the thing to do now is just add the rest of your ingredients, so your potatoes, your carrots and your tomatoes, add your stock, and then put in there your caraways and your bay leaves. You're pretty much there, so let's do it very simply. Here we go. Give it a good stir. Just to get all that goodness out. And again, it might be sticking a little bit to the bottom. Doesn't matter. When you put the stock in, hopefully it will release the bits that are a little bit sticky at the bottom, and it will just taste fabulous. Trust me on it. Now I tend to use Tesco's beef stock. Does it really matter? I don't know. We don't do any other stock other than the ones that are coming cute from. So this, tried it out a couple of times, really tasty. Works very, very nicely. So again, 2 bags of those. And this will probably cover most of the stuff that's in there. Remember, the actual carrots etc. are going to release some juice as well. If you filled it up more, it becomes what they call goulash lavesh, which is like more of a soup than a stew. And to be fair, you know, that's what it'll look like probably tonight. Because what I'll do with this is I'll cook this twice. I'll cook this now for another couple of hours, and I'll show you what it looks like then. And then tomorrow we'll cook it for another hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'll show you what it looks like then. Looks, smells brilliantly. Caraway seeds, be careful with these, don't put tons and tons in because they do have a very strong taste. But you know, as usual with me, be liberal. Bay leaves, what do bay leaves do? I don't know. Most good cooking from Hungary seems to include a bay leaf, so we'll get a couple of those out. I'll get my sausage fingers in there. 1, 2, 3, I'll put 4 in the solid. 4. Another nice stir to mix in those final ingredients. Bring it up to the boil, and then simmer for as long as you want. To say, I want to give it a couple of hours today, and I'll show you what it looks like. Then I'll give it a couple of hours tomorrow and show you again. If you want to see what it looks like now though, just before I put the lid on, hold on, can I turn this camera around? There you go, that's what it looks like now. Just any other stew. Trust me though, it tastes fabulous. Right, I'll show you later on. Cheers then. Okay then, here it is after a couple of hours, looking beautiful. Now as I said, it's more than edible like that, and to be fair I think I might attack some of it now. But if I do actually go ahead and cook it for another couple of hours, I'll show you what it looks afterwards. It should be a little bit thicker. Cheers then, enjoy. Okay, here we go. This is what it looks like a couple of, well, the next day and a couple of hours extra cooking. Hold on a second. Fabulous. Nice bit of bread. Should really have some sour cream. Haven't got any. Can't wait anymore. So I'm tucking in. Hope you all enjoy it. Cheers then. Bye.